I definitely
Isn't Flame
I
from
know.
Sky High?
Something like that, yeah.
I don't.
No,
But
that was
so-
War and Peace.
Oh, heck yeah. What a name.
And War and Peace? Dude, what a name, right?
He can get his flames up to
name.
his shoulders if it gets
Yeah.
real intense.
Yeah,
My
that was
goodness,
sick.
War and Peace. I gotta rewatch Sky High.
If you put on the outfit right now with the hair and
I look like me?
the weight, yes. If you put on the outfit right now and people, you were like, guess who I am from Game of Thrones? Nobody would even question. They'd be like, oh, you're Ramsay Bolton.
Welcome back to the Wacky Wonderful Wiseworks podcast, everybody. Welcome back to the studio channel and to the show. It's Friday. I hope you're enjoying. I hope you enjoyed your week and you're going into the weekend. Looking forward to it.
It's always good going into the weekend.
It is mostly good going into the weekend because we always were like, we're going to help you kick off the week with some content. But we only do that for patrons now. Now, for the public, we're helping people go into the weekend. So it's just party time. Party. Now, in some ways, do you think that choosing to air this on Fridays is a bad choice in our niche since Friday Night Tights is so popular?
I mean, you're right. It is. I've thought about that, but
we air it at noon, where Friday Night Tights don't start till like 4 p.m.
Exactly. We air it at noon, so that people have something to watch.
We're like
there's a lot of things that come out on Monday. Also,
Monday night's main event from Geeks and Gamers. No, that's Tuesday night's main event. Sorry, they do Monday Night Mario Party stream.
Look, there's a lot going on. I will say we have grown. I've noticed in the comments of our of a few of our videos, there is a little bit of our following, are also followers of Nerdrotic and the crew over there, right? Like Muller and drunk, Critical Drinker and all them. So there's a little bit of crossover, not a ton. And I'm not saying we necessarily even want to join the ranks with that crowd because they're into some stuff that we're not necessarily into. They're really into comic book culture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, people can. I watch a bunch of different stuff, so I think it's more audience based. It's like the audience will like cross over where they want to cross over.
There's a guy over in the UK. I don't know where is he based out of, but his content, he's with that group, but his content is he wears like that night soft plush hoodie thing constantly. You know who I'm talking about? Dang it.
No.
I really wish I would have prepped him, but the conversation just comes up.
What does he look like?
He's a white guy. He's got a little scruff. He's got glasses. He's on Friday Night Tights a lot, right?
I'm not sure who you're talking about.
Little Platoon?
Maybe. Let's see.
Let's see. There's Az and Disparu. Those are both British guys. Oh, you're thinking Shad.
Hold on.
Shad?
You're thinking Shad from Shadiversity.
Shad. How do you
He's actually from
that?
Australia. SHAD. Shadiversity. He's a history channel. He's a historic
Shadiversity.
Yeah, I think that's what you're thinking of. He's wearing a gambeson or a chainmail hoodie.
Dude, nailed it. That's exactly who I'm thinking about.
Yeah, no, he always does like historical fantasy content and has for a long time swords, axes, armor, crossbows, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And moved into like some of the entertainment space because of how prevalent fantasy and medieval stuff is. And, it kind of got into critiquing. It's like, is this chainmail good? Is this armor good? What is with this sword? Is this, because he's a historian.
Okay. So this guy, however, I was going to say he's a little bit more our speed because I believe he is a believer.
He's Mormon.
Okay. Well, that makes sense, actually. Sometimes their talking points are very similar to Christianity's. And then, you get at least that what I've heard him comment on when it comes to the entertainment stuff, especially around Lord of the Rings and I think some Game of Thrones and stuff. It is interesting. It's a little bit more, I don't know. He speaks his opinions, I guess, of stuff resonates with how I process some of it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Because he cares, because he's a nerd, and he actually has written a couple fantasy books as well.
Cool. I guess I'm wondering then if his starting niche was history and like historical weaponry and everything.
I used to watch him a lot years ago.
I'm wondering, how did he get connected with Friday Night Tights group? Really?
I mean, like I said, he moved into talking about like analyzing Game of Thrones, analyzing Lord of the Rings, especially when Rings of Power started coming out. He started talking a lot about that. And so they got him on Friday Night Tights, and he's just kind of become a staple on the show.
Oh, it's because of his channel. I think it's because of his channel Night's Watch, right?
Well, I don't know when Night's Watch came out, but
listen, Night's Watch has 151,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
Right? So he's in the group because he comments on movies on his Night's Watch channel, not his Shadiversity channel.
I feel like Night's Watch hasn't been around for a long time. Shadiversity's been around for a long time. And
you're right.
I feel
he's
like
known for Shadiversity.
More recently, they made the Night's Watch channel because they were commenting on so many movies.
He started Night's Watch 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure a big group of followers migrated from Shadiversity and also from Friday Night Tights, right?
Yeah. I'm actually a Patreon member of his.
Are you?
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. So yes, Night's Watch. If you're interested in his movie commentary, Night's Watch is it. I'm over here looking at his pages and not even sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Freaking, that's my bad.
Not even showing. Wow.
Yeah, show us his stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean,
this is his Night's Watch page, YouTube channel. This is his oldest stuff. Let's see, latest. So his latest, what is the true strength and masculinity? What is true strength and masculinity? It's not really anything to do with it, but here's Ahsoka.
Oh, okay.
Here's Wheel of Time. Here's Ahsoka. Even it's interesting. I look at his thumbnails and I think the guy that, Sean from Think Media, who critiqued our channel stuff, I'm like, he'd probably say the same thing to this guy.
Yeah.
Kind of busy, huh?
His thumbnails are very busy. I mean, it gets the job done, but maybe not as well as it could be with the audience size he has. So I don't know. He does pretty well. Barbie, he's commenting a lot, and then Shadiversity that you were talking about.
That's what most people would actually know him from.
Right. Which he uploaded one day ago.
Also.
So
yeah. Talks a lot about swords and historic architecture and armor and stuff. And like I said, I've been watching that kind of content for a long time.
It's right up your alley.
Yeah.
Right.
He's just a real big nerd,
Absolutely. And what's funny is there's another artist or another YouTuber who's an artist called what's his channel?
Not sure.
Who, I mean, he does art, but I didn't realize that he was Shad's brother until he had him on one episode, and it was just an art guy that I watched every once in a while. And then it turned out that they were brothers, which was funny.
This guy right here, I don't mean to stay on Friday Night Tights too long because I want to talk about something else as well. But this guy right here in this thumbnail,
Disparu.
Is that who I'm talking about? Is that who you're talking about? Disparu. He spelled Disparu.
There it is.
So yeah, Disparu.
Lots of commentary.
He blew a lot. He also blew up at Rings of Power. Okay. That
Yeah.
was his big blow up. He also reuses thumbnails. He's had
Oh, a
so many
ton.
thumbnails with the bearded black
Yeah.
lady.
Lady.
This thumbnail right here, he can't stop using it. He
Hey,
literally can't.
whatever works.
Okay, so there it is again. Now let's go back to when he was blowing up just a little ways ago. It's like every thumbnail had it in. Here we go. Every thumbnail.
Well, yeah, talking about Rings of Power. Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
funny.
Every
Yeah,
thumbnail had it
got,
in
like,
it.
every other that's
That's
confusing,
funny.
and that probably doesn't help him because I feel like if I watched one of his videos, I'd be like, "Didn't I
I don't
just watch
know.
this?"
He went from like 1,000 subscribers to whatever he has now.
200 and something.
Yeah, so
Like really
he's not
fast.
really
200
fast.
something.
So he's not doing terrible. His commentary is also really good. He speaks on things in a way that like he connects thoughts and ideas really well.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what people are kind of looking for. And he's not like he's not like kind of a yelling, screaming personality. He's just like, this is frustrating. This is not what I want to see.
He also does good
Here's why.
he also does good jabs, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or just like shows people the hypocrisy in a really, really well manner. But like this is when he blew up. So he was messing around for about a year with different content, especially stuff with like the gaming world, right?
Yeah.
And then he did Wheel of Time, and I think he got some good views. Then a little after he did Lord of the Rings, and that's when it took off, right? Or the Rings of Power, not Lord of the Rings. Then he did, Kenobi, and then She-Hulk, and then it just cascaded, right?
Yeah.
And
there was a good couple months there where you could get on like this. You could get on this trash train of talking about like just some bad shows. And
he definitely
as long as
capitalized.
you like, I feel like a lot of people were hate watching, but I feel like as long as you do some interesting commentary on it, he would point out things that he liked and things that he disliked. And, yeah, that was a pretty big season.
It was a big season. I will say for him, and this is one thing that, it's definitely a tactic to get up to over 200,000 subscribers quickly. I will say though, once we reach a season where the stuff that's the most popular is not necessarily the hated stuff, right?
Yeah.
So in a few years, maybe in 5 years, when Hollywood starts actually putting out good stuff again, when we kind of reach the end of like the woke agenda doesn't necessarily make us money and make us more liked.
Right.
When they get back to the basics, which I think they will because they need to make
just
money.
entertainment. Yeah.
Just entertainment. His interest, like he's going to have a hard time pivoting. I think one good thing
I don't think so.
Well,
no, I think because he gives good, honest commentary on other things as well.
But people are there. They bought into him because he is quippy, because his personality does well with the negativity. I'm just saying, look,
I think if you can be critical, you can be positive as well.
But
and if you can be
being positive,
but he's not him specifically is not critical in a only critical way where it feels negative all the time. He's critical in an objective way. And so when he does things that are positive, people enjoy those as well. I think creators that do only critical and only negative content, when they start talking about stuff they like and stuff they enjoy, people are like, oh, well, you're just you're a hypocrite because we thought you just hated everything.
Yeah.
But he's made it clear he doesn't hate everything. He enjoys even large portions of shows that are, abundantly terrible.
Yes, I'm not saying that his positive opinions aren't well displayed. I'm merely saying he's built an audience of the people who are hate watching.
I don't know.
I think he has, because it happened so fast and it happened at a specific time.
I don't think him as much.
I think he's the best
if you
example.
watch his stuff, he doesn't necessarily hate watch things. He more of critically watches things.
Yes,
so he's built an audience of people who want to see what's wrong with the thing less than just hate watch. There's other creators who just hate watch. And that's less. I think people do enjoy that kind of content, but I don't think that's necessarily.
Then I guess we'll see when
when things shift.
Yeah. You want to get to our first topic?
Yeah, sure. I don't know if we'll agree on this guy entirely, but time will tell.
Well, you haven't seen some. You haven't seen some of the others.
What?
And just like hate watch creators.
I've seen some.
I think they will have a hard time pivoting.
Probably.
Have you guys heard about the new news of them offering Jake Gyllenhaal the role of Reed Richards in Fantastic Four?
No,
I didn't hear that.
Wait, when did they say this?
Last week.
Oh wow!
So it's not been confirmed that he accepted to play this role, but they have offered it to him, and it's kind of brought up a lot of talk because of a couple different things. One, he's already in a Marvel movie. He's in Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yep. And he's the illusionist. He has robots that creates illusions.
Mysterio. And so that's one thing why people are talking about it. They're like, he's already in this world. Why we cast him as a different character? And then the second thing is, why are they having such a hard time picking actors to play these roles? Why is everybody like, no, I can't do this role? And they are struggling with the Fantastic Four.
Here's what I think. They're having trouble because number one, you're trying to fit somebody who looks the right part, but also you're trying to fit the right actor who will sell the movie as well.
Right.
So I think they have lightning in a bottle with John Krasinski. And people enjoyed seeing him for what little bit he was on screen. He looks like Mr. Fantastic from the comics.
He do.
And it's the same casting with the original Fantastic Four movie with that actor who played
that guy.
He looks just like Reed Richards. I mean, pick them for how they look and how they act. And the reason they're having so much issue is they're trying to pick based on fame as well. Which I don't think is smart. Just pick an actor and go.
So, look, what this guy's name is, I don't know. Is that an I?
John.
Let me share this tab.
Or are you talking about?
No, I'm talking about the guy that he didn't name, but he's talking about.
The original actor for Fantastic Four.
How do you say that? Ian. Is that just Ian?
Yeah.
Is that? It might be Ian. I don't know. He might be. Who knows where he's from?
Okay, Gruffend.
Yeah,
Gruffend. Yeah, but he did a good job.
Yeah, he did.
Jessica Alba.
Yeah,
if we're being honest, what a performance. Remember when she what was it? She burned off all her clothes in the snow. Man, that movie got a little too spicy for young boys.
Now she's not acting. She's not acting, but she's raising her family and running a successful business.
Oh, cool. Good for her, I
doing
guess.
Other stuff. Yeah.
Why does it sound like you're reading off her Wikipedia page or something?
No, I just saw it. I saw somebody post on Twitter, like, whatever happened to Jessica Alba? She was so attractive and successful and a great actress. And it was like, well, she got married, started a family, and is running a successful business. So she's doing fine.
She's doing all right. So what's the news in this article that you're
well,
trying
I
to
mean, it's
share
just
with us
basically what
here?
we said. So they are really struggling to pick actors for this. I mean, they kind of briefly showed a photo of who all they've kind of tried to get so far, and I have a photo of them, so we can kind of go through my slides. But
Okay.
like,
but before we do that, we need to acknowledge, I guess. So they did the Miles Morales Fantastic Four. It didn't
Miles
pop off.
Morales,
Miles Teller.
Miles Teller.
Mm-hmm.
They did the Miles Teller, and also the guy from
yeah, and
Creed.
it was
What's his name?
terrible. Well, I enjoyed it, but
Michael B.
everybody
Michael B.
Jordan.
else was
Jordan. Yeah.
terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone said it was terrible, so like that hard reboot attempt was not accomplished as well. And then we get the John Krasinski fan service, and if he never shows up again, as you were saying, it's lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
Well, first off, let's ask this before we get into all this. I don't mean to keep going back here, but do we want more Fantastic Four? Or are we done? Were we just done with this? Why are we
might be
revisiting
done.
something?
We might be done. I think it's more of we're done with superheroes, and so unless they
This
can
is
give
all
us
for
something
naught,
great, they're just
basically.
redoing something we've seen
It's
twice already.
it's because of issues like this that a lot of people are done with superheroes. They can't pick actors. They're pushing certain agendas. They're reshooting movies and shifting and moving around everything, and it's not fun anymore.
No, it's not fun.
It's not fun anymore. It's just it's politics mixed in with crappy CGI and subpar storytelling with characters that people love and they
diversity
hate
casting.
They hate seeing what's happening to them on screen. Yeah, and so nobody wants to see it.
Screwing with the gender identity of the characters.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Nope.
It's not fun anymore.
All right, so but as we go through this, let's look at their efforts, I guess. Let's look at to see what they're actually attempting to resurrect this story that has zero interest around it.
Yeah, so
Adam Driver.
Adam Driver was slated for a while and then essentially dropped. I think
that's a bad choice.
Right
I
when
think it's a bad. Well, he's a good actor. I think he would do the part as well as he could. He would definitely act it out, and I think he could do a good performance, but I don't think he fits the mold.
No. Okay, Matt Smith.
This is interesting because I was not a fan of Matt Smith until House of the Dragon came out, and I was like, I've been proven wrong. Matt Smith is actually a good actor. I will accept him in roles. So this is interesting to me.
Yeah, he could do a good job. I mean, all of the actors I think that they've proposed that they've are good actors. You want Reed Richards is kind of almost the leading man, even though the team is made up of the four of them. He's kind of the
leader,
the heart of the group. Yeah. And so casting him is really important.
He's the stretchy gum that holds everything together.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I always say I'm a Miles Teller apologist, so nobody can do better than that. But
a lot of people can do better than that. So many. I could do better than that.
Who else? Okay, so we got Jake Gyllenhaal. Yes, he would be fine, but that's not the right choice.
He would be fine. He would be good.
But then they're gonna have to be like, okay, well, he came back at
Spider-Man.
What was his name? Illusiono?
Mysterio.
Mysterio got out of jail and decided he wanted to become stretchy, right? That's what they would have to say.
He changed his ways.
Well, I think he actually died. I think he was shot.
It wasn't a very Scooby-Doo ending. He actually killed.
He died.
Look, there's so many awesome roles that Jake Gyllenhaal can crush. I mean, crush. And in superhero movies is not those, in my opinion.
I don't think so.
I threw in a couple more, none of Reed Richards, but for the cast for the Flame. That at one point they were just
Human Torch.
Human
That's his
Torch.
name.
I
It's
always
the
say
Human
this.
Torch.
I've
Yeah.
definitely done this before. I've definitely done
Isn't
this
Flame
before.
I
from
know.
Sky High?
Something like that. Yeah.
I don't.
No,
But
that was
so
War and Peace.
Oh,
Warren
heck
P-
yeah. What a name.
Freaking War and Peace. Dude, what a
dude.
name, right?
He could get his flames up to
name.
his shoulders if it gets
Yeah.
real intense.
Yeah,
My
that was
goodness,
sick.
War and Peace. I gotta rewatch Sky High.
Yeah, Human Torch. Too
Zac
old.
Efron.
Too old. Johnny's supposed to be
Yeah.
young.
And
Johnny
he kind
Storm
of
is young. He's a hothead.
Man, he really aged himself up with that plastic surgery, didn't he?
Why is this is the only thing anybody's going to talk about when they talk about Zac Efron?
Well, he
Yeah,
had
from
that.
now
He
on.
made it. He made the
Well,
wrong
he had
choice.
He had that, guys. He had that car accident, and then 3 years later had that plastic surgery because of the
I
car
mean, and he
accident.
fell in his kitchen and hurt
He
his
looked
jaw,
great.
and
Yeah,
so,
and
he's got stuff.
when you fall, when you have issues like that, you need to get the cheek implants.
And he also had the same thing Michael Jackson had, where like his skin gets splotchy,
Mhm.
So he had to make himself not a white guy. He had to go the opposite way and make himself a black
Little
guy now.
darker. Yeah.
Yeah.
Freaking, he was
He's
so
doing
cool
everything.
looking. That first season of his adventure show looks so good. And he was
Yeah, he's so
shirtless most of the
handsome.
time. I'm telling you.
Now he looks like Rob
Tall
Lowe.
glass of water. He looks like freaking
Does.
I swear, he
Simon
looks
from
just like. Tell me he doesn't look like Rob Lowe in Parks and Rec right here.
very, yeah. He do look like Rob Lowe a lot.
I mean, maybe,
And Rob
that's
Lowe
what
has
he's
had a
known
lot
for.
of the same kind of work done.
Yeah, he has. In an effort to remain young looking when Rob Lowe is not young at all.
Mm-mm.
All right, let's see who else. This guy.
Who's this?
He's the guy from Stranger Things.
Oh, yeah.
So
Eddie.
my sides have not. Oh yeah. So he also was slated, I guess, around the same time Adam Driver was.
He could do
His
it.
name is
He could do it.
Joseph. What's his last name? Joseph Quinn, I think.
Okay. Yeah, he could do it. He would be interesting in the role. He's young. He could play a cocky hothead guy.
Out of all the castings for that, I think this is the best one that I have heard so far.
You think?
Yeah, because I really want to see him do some stuff.
Okay, so for what's her face?
Sue Storm.
Sue Storm. No, not Margot Robbie. Too old also.
So she and Adam Driver were slated at the same time, but then they both dropped the role at the same time too. So I don't know. That would not be a good pairing. Adam Driver and Margot Robbie?
I don't think so.
No to Margot Robbie. Freaking no more. No more.
Yeah, she's kind of. I like her.
What is she
She's
on?
good. Mission Impossible.
Oh, heck yeah.
I like her.
Blonde
She's
girl.
she's a good actress, and
she's the one that has been the latest announcement. So she's with Jake Gyllenhaal. I don't know if she's going to accept it. Also, they've not said, but she's also currently in kind of the running to play.
Yeah, she's good. She's good. She's pretty.
I feel like she hasn't had a main role.
Yeah, and you're right. She's had
was
kind of a
good.
secondary role with Mission
For
Impossible.
acting stuff.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see her in that
It
in
would
the
be.
Sue Storm role.
And so there's no casting for the Thing. Is that just because they're just going to use AI?
Josh forgot about the Thing.
No, I didn't forget about it. There's not been any like news around that. I don't know
Who
why.
who would you pick for the Thing? He's got to be kind of similar in age to Reed because they went to school together. They were kids together. They grew up together. So who would you pick? Michael Chiklis is out. As much as I would cast Chiklis again, he did so good in the first movie. Who would you pick?
Freaking there's no guy that fits the description of the Thing.
Stocky bald guy.
Stocky bald guy that
Young,
is
stocky
of
bald
age.
guy.
Everybody's
I
too
don't know
old.
if they wanna go, black like they did the last one. They could do like John Bodega. Is he the guy that's in Star
John
Wars?
Boyega. Yeah.
John
Um,
Bodega.
I think if you're race swapping, the Thing is the most obvious guy to race swap. He's
So you don't so you won't be able to see his blackness.
well, no, it just
No.
well, no,
No.
it just he's like they race swapped Johnny in the last one, and it's like
Yeah, with
that's
Michael B.
weird.
Jordan.
Yeah, that's weird. That you would race swap the people, the siblings. And I think the Thing is like it doesn't matter as much for his character. I think we've always said that about race swapping. As long as it's like the core character is still there. Even Johnny was okay. It just like it felt weird. But yeah, there's a lot of guys of multiple races. I think that could play the Thing.
Yes, I agree.
Who do you think? Who would you pick?
Who would I pick? I'm struggling with this. There's. I think it would be fun to see a big old fat guy play the Thing.
Big fat guy,
like a big old fat guy.
Well, he's not fat. He's short. He's stocky. He's bald. So you could play him, Joe.
I could play.
You're not bald
Thing.
yet. Yeah, you could. Play
no, I have a wonderful head of hair.
If you were, you'd have to shave your head.
I wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah, but
yeah, you don't have a great. You got too round of a head to do like the bald thing.
That's so rude. What if I do go bald? That's
I'm the same way. I don't. The Wisners are notorious to not have good balding heads.
And my head is too small.
Yeah, dude, your head would be so tiny.
Like, tiny.
Your head would be so tiny. You'd have to like find a way to downsize your body just to try to match it up.
Yep.
It's almost you need the poof hair. It evens you out.
Yes. That's why I grow it out. Yep.
When you do the buzz cut, it becomes
my head to body ratio.
Exactly. I think that's the case for most people. You got to have a good head to body ratio.
Yeah, some people look good with the bald head. Some people have that right head to body.
I don't mean to change the subject, but there's this new trend that these girls are doing where they're wearing like these colorful trench coats or similar to trench coats thing. A lot of these girls have tiny heads, and when you put on a trench coat, you get bigger. Like you become more stocky because it's big and fluffy. And it's not even just trench coats. They're wearing the stocky outfits. Yeah. So they just kind of look like they have a little tiny head with hair on top of this big fluffy body that these girls are doing, right?
Well, you know, when a guy tries to wear a trench coat, he just gets kind of labeled as a certain
like a creep. Yeah.
Flasher. Everyone's waiting to see him open it up.
And that's why you've noticed the trend of coats has changed since the kind of 70s and 80s flasher issues.
They don't button. They don't close all the way.
Well, the trend of coat has changed. It's less that trench detective high collar, tie around the waist trench coat, and now it's more like the like those like navy petticoat kind of looking things. And
I think the reason they discontinued that style is because they found out their underlying market was not the detectives showing.
It wasn't detectives. It wasn't people walking around in New York anymore.
No,
it was specifically.
Well, they were walking around in New York. It just
Yeah, it was specifically creepy dudes,
antisocial, just kind of slightly dirty dudes showing up being like, "How much does this trench coat cost?"
I heard a story of I'm not going to say who did it, but they're an older person, and when they were young, they would wear those like really short shorts and then and put on the trench coat, walk around and like scare people. But they had like a shirt and shorts on.
Nice. Yeah, that would be a great Halloween costume. A flasher.
The Flash.
The Flash.
I'm the Flash. Oh my gosh. That's a great costume idea. If you got
Thank you, Cynthia, for being a Patreon supporter. Look, she enjoys early podcasts. She enjoys exclusive podcasting, like the pre-show.
Yeah.
And And yeah, she just enjoys all of our Patreon content, and you guys know the drill. Look, everybody online
Drill.
who are creators need a way to support themselves,
Support
and they
themselves.
offer
Yeah.
exclusive and early content to the audiences to do so. So listen, if you would like to support us, if you would like to say, "Hey, I believe in what these guys are doing. I like their opinions. I like their goofing off, and I like that they talk about movies and show up every single week
Every
for
single
my
week,
enjoyment, multiple times, many times a week."
all the
Look,
time.
almost every day we're
Trying.
showing up.
Trying.
You can
So listen,
find us basically on any day.
if you appreciate that, I'm not even gonna try to sell you on all the content that you can enjoy on Patreon. I'm gonna say this: if you appreciate that, if you know it takes work, if you know that you've been enjoying our content for a while, won't you consider subscribing to the Patreon? Right? Won't you consider supporting us over on Patreon so we can have a kick in the pants to keep creating and to earn a little bit for our underlying costs, like our internet that we use, our continuing purchases, like our Adobe Premiere to edit videos, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Listen, we need you, we want you, and we'll have you over on Patreon. Go to
We're
the
gonna
link in
have
the
you
description. Select the tier that best fits your content needs, and we can't wait to see you over there. Before we go to the next topic, I teased this in the exclusive pre-show.
Okay.
I want to talk about it. I just finished a HBO series called The Outsider. All right. It's a Stephen King
Is this
story.
different than The Outsiders?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, it
okay.
is.
No, just making sure.
So it is a Stephen King story. All right.
Okay.
And listen, top cast, Ben Mendelsohn. Okay.
Okay.
Incredible.
He's good. Is he
The
the
first
villain?
No, he is the
Ooh,
protagonist, the good
good.
guy.
Good.
Exactly. When do you get to see that?
You
Patty
don't.
Constantine. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Freaking Jason Bateman is in the first couple
Okay.
episodes. All right. This is a slept on series, 10 episodes.
Okay. Show me
Really
that
freaking good.
what's the title thing for it look like again? Go back up.
The poster.
Poster, yeah.
So this is what it looks like. The outside.
Definitely looks like a person.
Yes.
Blur, if you blur your eyes, that's a human face right there.
Wait a minute. Is that what we're supposed to be looking at? A face?
Yeah, blur your eyes. It looks like there's a
Looks like
mask and a nose and
yeah, you're right. It's got the circle
Oh,
like it's a
I
face.
do see it now.
Mhm.
I do see it.
So all that to say, look, it's a Stephen King story. So there is real world mixed with the kind of unexplained supernatural, right?
Cool.
Yeah.
It gets to a very interesting place, but look, the ride that this series takes you on is so incredible. Cynthia Erivo,
Mm.
she plays this very interesting character. The title of The Outside, the end, very end, last couple scenes, she brings the title into like what's happened throughout the story, and then what kind of a conversation she has brings the title into understanding, right? It makes sense, but you really don't understand. Like it just feels like a generic title until you get to the end when it actually makes sense. But my goodness,
Cool.
let me show you a few of these pictures from the film. The series, not that one.
Okay.
So everybody just acted their butt off for this series. Just so good. All right.
Oh.
And when do you get to see this guy as a good guy and
Yeah.
actually like a
Mhm.
good emotional deep role? Never.
It's not
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 really.
often. I've always figured that he has the chops.
He 100%
He really
has the
does.
chops.
Oh,
Okay.
We know
what is
we know
that?
the kind of chops Bateman has.
What
Yeah.
is that?
Listen,
We 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 know
that
Bateman
teases
can
your
act.
interest. If that
Yeah.
teases your interest.
I'm already interested.
Now
Yeah.
the episodes are long. It's 10 episodes, but I watched this whole series 3 watching sessions. 3.
Yeah.
Freaking, it's good, man. Watch it. You'll be blown away by the acting, the depth of the characters. It's a new take. If you're looking for a good show to watch, it's this.
Okay.
It's dark.
What's it on,
It's
by the
thrilling.
way?
It's HBO Max or
Oh,
Max.
cool. Okay.
Max.
It's on Max. So freaking watch it, man. I give it an 8 out of 10 as far as thrilling mystery series goes. All right.
Nice.
Really good. It's a Stephen King story. And
Yeah.
it does get a bit out there at the end, but doesn't all Stephen King stories.
Exactly.
That kind of parlays with my next topic. So it's interesting you said that it's Stephen King, because go to my next slide real quick.
Where's Stephen King?
Where's Stephen?
Not Stephen King so much as
a writer.
Yeah, I didn't know how to show this, but like, no,
authorism.
The book adaptations are taken over right now.
Yeah.
Would you not agree?
I would agree. We're seeing a lot more.
I think we're seeing a lot more. I feel like we've always seen the same amount.
We've seen a lot of book adaptations, but
we've seen a lot.
The ones we're seeing right now are people are pretty positive about. Percy Jackson and Dune and
Hunger Games.
Hunger Games. What?
The Color Purple.
The Color Purple. This one that you were just talking about, The Outsiders.
Everyone's sleeping on The Outsider, though. It's not really taken over. A lot of people aren't watching or talking about it.
I disagree. I think subconsciously you're not realizing that they are. I mean, I just had Killers of the Flower Moon too. That's Martin Scorsese's book that's going to be coming out.
You want me to go through these slides?
You can. That was just an example, but we already kind of mentioned them.
Killers of the Flower Moon. Hunger Games. So going back to why is Percy Jackson punching Marvel in the face in this slide?
I think he's talking about. I would say the representation here, and correct me if I'm wrong, Josh, but it is.
Yeah.
We have to sit here and try to decode Joshua's imagery.
No, we don't. It's
it's
a personal choice that I'm making to do so.
Okay.
And if I'm interpreting this correctly, it is the book adaptations in Hollywood that people are looking forward to is punching out Marvel, which people are no longer looking forward to. Am I correct?
Yes. Specifically superhero movies. I put Marvel there, but DC's involved with
DC
this
as well. Yes.
I didn't put two things, but like
Joshua, that was a little on the nose
in general.
Freaking, it wasn't abstract enough for the interpretation.
Well, okay, how would you have done this? Critique my slides, because this has nothing to do with the topic.
What I would have chosen instead of boxing characters, what I would have chosen is, I don't know, show Luke, right? Standing by a flame with Darth Vader in the fire, burning the body.
Oh, okay.
But put Marvel on top of Darth Vader and Percy Jackson on top of Luke.
Nah.
That's a little bit more abstract.
No. It's more abstract, but it doesn't get the point across. I think boxing does. There's a new boxer rising up is always kind of, a new challenger is always kind of a better. Whereas if like the sequel series of Star Wars had been really, really good, it would be putting the original series to rest. That's a more apt analogy.
But nothing's ever put the original series
and actually get to the topic itself a little bit.
Yeah.
Something that I'm thinking of just by kind of bringing this up is like, what's one thing that we always complain about when it comes to Hollywood movies is the writers. And if you're making book adaptations, you have some writers to make it into a script, but to a screenplay.
But it's almost like the more they deter from the book, the madder we are, correct?
Yes.
Usually,
but also like the writers taking liberty of like writing down stories, we're like, this is dumb. If they just stick to an actual good writer and tell their story in a movie form, we're like, this is fantastic.
Yeah, well, I think we've seen over the years the book series into book series into movies that are successful are the ones where people are like, okay, this is the writing from the books, the magic from the books, the characters from the books adapted to the screen well. Whereas the movies and the adaptations that aren't successful are people like, well, this isn't the same character. This is a completely different story. It these don't look the same. This doesn't look the same. The magic is different. The character is different. I don't like the story. It's nothing like the original.
Right.
Why does this character live instead of die, and vice versa? And I wouldn't say that Hollywood's necessarily gotten on top of that, but I think they're more conscious about it now.
So let me ask you this. Did people start hating Marvel because the source material for Marvel is the comics, all right? And there are a lot of comics that the fans of Marvel comics don't like. Recently learned about this because I'm not in comic culture. But apparently there are a ton of Marvel comics that fans are mad at, right?
Yeah.
So if the comics are the source material for Marvel, how far did they deter, and at what point did they deter, right?
They in Marvel, they deterred from the beginning. It was adaptations of these characters, which, like, again, there's nothing wrong with the adaptation of the characters and trying to tell the stories in an interesting way that kind of fits with what you're putting to screen, and kind of almost creating a new universe. But it's when they start deterring so much from the comics. It's the same issue with the books. They deter so much from the comics. They pretend like they're doing the same thing as the comics by naming something the Amazing Spider-Man or Multiverse of Madness, or something like that, where it's like, oh, that's the name of a comic book, and then you watch it and it's like, it's nothing like the comic book. That is not what happened.
Well, so that's interesting. As an example, like, to bring the modern politics into it, they're demasculating legacy characters and giving power to traditionally sex icon characters. As an example, demasculating characters like Thor, and giving basically purpose and power, or I guess womanhood, to someone like She-Hulk, which was always traditionally a sex character in the comics,
and also
basically
a secondary character,
right?
I think they've been doing that too. Is like, we need more women characters, and so they take these characters who are secondary characters, not primary characters, and don't have any story really. And if they have story, it's not as prominent as some of the bigger Marvel characters, and being like, well, this is the new character, like Hawkeye's apprentice in that show, and they're even making a show about the villain girl who, like, uses I don't know what she had, like,
the witch from WandaVision, right?
Yeah, and like the witch from WandaVision. These secondary characters that nobody cares about, rather than Iron Man and Hulk.
Well, they're doing those, but they recast them as women. So Chadwick Boseman dies, okay, and then they give the character of Black Panther to a girl. Fine. Then they're also giving Iron Man's character to a girl in the same movie, And everybody, they
that's
have
what I'm saying.
Woman Hulk now, because the man Hulk has completely lost his Hulkness.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The legacy characters, these, they're not. Nobody wants to focus on them anymore, and it's fine. It's fine to shift focus, right? And to move on to new characters, but tearing down your old characters isn't good. And I think that wraps back around to why people are looking at these books, is because they know the books, they've enjoyed the books, they've seen the beginning and the end of a lot of these series, and they want to see those characters put to screen, because those are good, interesting characters. Now, if you do what they did in, like, the Wheel of Time, and you subvert all of your yeah, if you subvert all of your interesting characters by focusing more on politics, then you're going to ruin a series. You're going to
And
ruin
orgies and
yeah,
gender identity of these
and
witches.
fan bases that enjoyed that series that wasn't about any of that.
Yeah, no, not at all. But that's what the show became about.
Mm-hmm.
Ridiculous.
So they can do it with the book series.
So the question is, so you're saying that they're coming in, they're making movies like shows like Percy Jackson, they're doing Dune, but we've also established that it really depends on who's the creator behind it, right? It matters a lot who's the
I
creator.
guess so. I mean,
and
yeah,
who
because
the
they are doing stuff that's terrible when it comes to book form, but then there's
you
doing
looking
stuff
forward to
that's
Greta
really good.
Gerwig's Narnia?
Are you?
We'll see. We'll
No.
see.
Do you think Narnia or Greta Gerwig are good choices to carry Narnia?
No.
No,
Netflix
but we
team.
will see.
I mean, I don't think so.
There's not much going for it.
Look, I think as much as long as we get good book adaptations, we're going to get bad book adaptations. That's
Yeah.
kind of how the trend has always been. And sometimes you'll get a bunch of really good ones, and we could be in that phase right now. But with the good ones come the bad ones.
With the good ones come a lot of bad ones and very frustrating
really want
periods of time.
Good fantasy book to be added to become a movie that is enjoyable to watch, because I really want to watch more fantasy. Like
agreed.
Medieval fantasy, not
sci-fi.
Yeah, we just watched last night. Actually, we watched. We went back and watched Disney's Prince Caspian, and we're like,
it's freaking good.
It's good.
It's fun.
The next one, Voyage, didn't do great, but Caspian was good.
Yeah. I mean, their sound editing was terrible, and a lot of the dialogue was terrible. But overall, I mean, the movie's well paced. It's fun. It's got a lot of really cool scenes. And the original music that's in it from the first movie and the new music is solid. They did use this one sound effect like 15, 20 different times.
Well, you're the only one who complained about that.
Yeah, and I did because I was watching it, and it's like they used it anytime something.
What sound effect?
It was like if something surprising or scary happened, it was like a boing, that kind of sound effect.
Wait, hold on. I need an example. Give me a specific.
I don't think that I could give you an example.
Yeah, without actually watching it, it was just like it wasn't like music emphasizing it. It was just one sound effect that would emphasize an emotion that Wyatt was having a problem.
And they didn't use multiple sound effects. They used just the one sound effect every time something like that happened.
Well, have you guys rewatched The Witch in the Wardrobe?
Yeah.
So you watched that and then Caspian.
Not right now.
Like
we watched it
right close to each other, but we watched it a while ago. Yeah, the original movie has its issues too, but it didn't use one sound effect 50 different times.
I think parts of Caspian, potentially the editing, was rushed because the first one did so well.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I agree. Yeah,
and Disney definitely wanted to make that money, and then we really saw it when Voyage came out.
Yeah,
right?
that definitely makes sense, because they were trying to do something with Voyage of the Dawn Treader, but it fell so short.
Agreed.
There's a lot to it, but look, to put the last staple in the ream of paper for this conversation.
Nail in the coffin.
No, it's overused, and I'm not trying to be that Halloween. Okay.
So the last staple in the ream of paper. So the only staple that you usually put in a ream of paper.
Okay.
The final.
You usually only put one.
That's
so the
not
first,
true.
And it's technically the first.
That's not true.
Who puts more than one staple in a ream?
If you screw it up, you have to use a staple remover and take them out. Right?
No, you're usually
you have to take them out.
If you're trying to bind a bunch of pieces of paper, you're punching holes in it. You're hole punching. If you're using a staple, well, come on, you're using one.
No, that's not true. If you had too many pieces of paper inside that ream, then you keep screwing up the staples, and you have to keep taking out and trying it again, or removing.
It's still technically only one staple.
No, you've used
Whether you
multiple.
take it out or
Look,
not, you're
to
putting
put
in. It's only one that's holding it together.
To put the final and correctly stapled staple into this ream of paper.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have good adaptations, bad adaptations. It really depends on the creator. Yes, it is this movement of book to film. I guess this influx, this tidal wave that we're getting right now is pushing Marvel out, but it's not so much pushing it out as much as they've kind of killed it themselves and everyone's tired of it. It's more so everyone's with the combination of media. It's more so everyone's just, it's obvious what people care about.
I would actually add that, like, I don't know that it's the book adaptations that are pushing Marvel out. It's the large scale kind of, the individual director films and the sci-fi movies that are pushing Marvel out.
Well,
I don't think
you just debunked my whole slide.
The book films aren't doing it as much, but they are a part, I think.
Well, like even Oppenheimer's
I think as far as interest goes for fun and enjoyment, people are looking more to the book adaptations and less to Marvel, because Marvel's also an adaptation.
Right.
So if we're talking specifically about adaptations of things.
Yeah, I mean, and people are super excited for Killers of the Flower Moon because Scorsese made it, and because it's starring Leonardo DiCaprio
and Robert De
Niro and all them.
Good cast.
It's an all right cast, but that's the reason why people are excited. If I don't know, the guy who made freaking what's a mid movie?
What?
What's a mid
book
movie?
adaptation of a mid movie?
No, just any mid movie.
Aquaman.
Okay.
I'm really.
If the director of Pirates of the Caribbean 4 was directing Killers of the Flower Moon, there wouldn't be as much hype about it.
There wouldn't be as much hype about it.
Kind of like Greta Gerwig directing Narnia.
No, unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of hype around her until everyone sees her for what she is. A woke, not very skilled, bad storyteller who hides behind her femininity or hides behind her feminine ideology, right?
What's funny is behind. Someone could argue she hides behind Ryan Gosling.
No, she said that she doesn't like that the internet has misinterpreted Ken's story into like.
If you didn't want it misinterpreted, you shouldn't have casted Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, exactly. She doesn't like.
She needed him to sell the movie.
People are more a fan of him and his character and kind of the story arc that he goes through than Barbie.
Yeah.
Right.
They should have called the movie Ken.
Anywhere else I'd be a 10.
They should have called the movie Ken.
Yeah, nobody's talking about Margot at all. And so, yeah.
Freaking.
It's so funny. It's so funny that the internet's not talking about Margot Robbie's performance or Margot Robbie in the movie. They're talking about Ken.
When she was the Barbie.
Funny.
She's Barbie. Barbie, the icon.
Man, I've heard more about Michael Cera being in it than about her.
Freaking, you know who really gets the most attention in the media for not the internet, not us, but who gets the most attention for Barbie? It's freaking Greta Gerwig. She is the one that everyone's been talking about. Like all the media articles, everybody's like, Greta Gerwig, freaking, she's the highest grossing woman filmmaker ever. My gosh, second highest grossing movie of this year.
Man, it took
Give
women
her
long
Narnia.
enough.
It took her.
It took the women long enough. Come on.
My gosh, it took a long time.
I'm joking, guys.
And they had to make a movie Barbie to get there.
They had to make a Barbie movie, and it's still subverted by how awesome Ken is.
I wonder if this is really going to be a problem for us in the future.
What?
This kind of talk.
Talking about Greta Gerwig.
There's still freedom of speech as of recording.
Well, if we were like bro dude podcasters who are like always talking about creatine and protein and and being a bro dude, and
I was
and
objectifying
how to be an alpha.
Look, I was objectifying the lady in Fantastic Four earlier.
Some people get
You did.
Some people get it objectified.
Well, I think when Hollywood does the same thing when you're casting for superheroes, especially you're looking for somebody who is attractive and a good actor. So they started it.
Don't freaking shame us for objectifying. The entire Hollywood model's built on objectifying.
And you know what? You're not objectifying. Objectifying is negative connotations that you don't really do. I think it's more of
it's definitely positive.
It's
definitely
it's positive.
About the way she looks.
It's attraction. It's positive attraction.
Yeah.
Objectifying is negative attraction.
There'd be people that would say that's not correct, but
there's people that would say positive attraction is a negative trait as well, but
because you're not supposed to.
But those people,
pretty.
Those people don't have relationships
between you fools, just arguing about dumb stuff.
Well, if you would join in the conversation,
you guys be
have
talking
some fun,
about
man.
the guy, the one YouTube channel, and now you're arguing about.
Freaking, I'm asking a genuine question.
Well, you know what? It's called a conversation, and we're having one. So
this is where Joshua, we mentioned last week.
Be there, or be square. So
if Joshua, this is the thing. You got to appreciate
Josh be living like this.
Joshua can easily find his corners.
When they say be there, be square, Josh is like, square.
Joshua's got a little square on each corner, checking, make sure. In 90 degrees, down to the center.
Sit right between one corner is, Ready Player One. The other corner is
freaking.
It's not a funny joke anymore.
Early Game of Thrones.
What's it to begin with?
Oh, dang. No. So this kind of giggling though, and conversating though, Joshua, is what we've been saying, where you're like, I'm leaving, I'm annoyed with the podcast, I'm gonna leave. And then we said you get FOMO because you just hear us in the other room just going just giggling at each other, and you'd be like, dang it, we must be having a good conversation. We'd be doing this. We'd be doing this nonstop. We might not get to topics. All right.
Oh boy.
What's this next bit, Joshua?
Okay, so kind of for our final thing, I mean, it's a little bit old because it's been out for a little bit now, but we've not talked about it because it's not huge. It's not a huge thing that's in the news, but Joseph knew exactly about it as soon as he saw it. The show Duck Dynasty,
The Blind.
They are making a movie adaptation about the Robertsons' life and how they basically started running.
Specifically, Phil and his wife. Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. and Miss Robertson.
But I mean, it's all about family. So families are going to be.
It is about family.
Well, this is before they had the kids, I'm pretty sure. Well, they actually might have the kids in here, but not.
So we watched this trailer.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to watch it again on here, are we?
No. That's why we watched it previously. If you want to go watch it, let's tease it. It's called The Blind. You can look up The Blind trailer. It's on YouTube. It's everywhere, so you can go watch it if you want to.
I mean, I would have called it The Call, but that's personal.
Well, this is gonna be. Look, it's the deeper message. Did you not listen to the trailer?
So we watched the trailer, and I was definitely expecting it to be kind of what you expect about these kind of movies, like the rise to fame, and then the fame gets to your head, and that's when you start going off the deep end. But at no point did it really make me feel like it was the fame as much as it was just him. He's having a problem.
Okay,
he's
so
an alcoholic and abusive and self-absorbed and things like that. And then I think at some point they blew a duck call and then never mentioned hunting again.
All right, let me give you the skinny. This is a Christian film. All right.
Yeah.
This is a dramatized Christian film.
Yeah.
It's based on the
Yeah.
story of Phil Robertson. He's the father. It's not the wacky uncle that everyone loved on the show. It's not Willie, who's the mastermind CEO of the company or whatever, who made the show popular. It's about Phil Robertson. All right, he's the guy who got canceled because he wouldn't back down on hating the gays. And then the Blaze took him, and now he has his own show podcast on the Blaze, right? But he's not allowed on TV no mo. He wasn't allowed on the Duck Dynasty show. This is about his backstory of coming to Christ, not about them building the business. All right.
Yeah, and that's interesting. And the from what I saw from the trailer, like the actors are putting on a good. They're definitely acting. It's it's dramatic. It's what you would expect from like what was that one Marriage Story with
with Adam
Scarlett
Driver and
Johansson
Scarlett
and Adam
Johansson.
Driver. Yeah,
it felt a lot like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't see anything that I had a problem with.
Does it seem boring to you? Because Joshua was like, why?
A little bit.
It's not something. It's not something I would watch.
No, yeah, I don't think that. This seems like they're just grasping at straws because, the controversy around Duck Dynasty and the show is a popular thing. So they're making a movie adaptation about these people, but it feels like they're grasping at straws here a little bit.
It's definitely a next career move.
I mean, at no point did the trailer make me feel like, oh, they're really grasping at straws here.
You think so?
No, it was just like, if you have a story that is dramatic and a history that is dramatic and like legitimately frustrating and hard to look back on and lots of emotional moments, then yeah, I think you can tell that story and make it interesting. What I hope they're not doing is taking a couple times where he flipped a table and was angry and turning it into a drama piece.
That's what it felt like to me. Like, how much of this is going to be actually true?
But I mean, how much, like, that's the thing. How much do you know?
Well,
if that's the case, then it's not as interesting. But if it was somewhat dramatic like that, then it is more interesting to me.
But look, if he puts a stamp of approval on it, they're the only ones that can corroborate what actually happened.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
and
like
that's
if he did have years and years of alcoholism and anger issues or whatever the crap that all fell into that, and that really upended his life and for his family and everybody, then yeah, that's a really hard that's a great storytelling turn or conflict, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes down to it, it doesn't matter if they're exaggerating it or it's accurate. You won't know unless literally the people that it's about tells you it's exaggerated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which this is their film. They're
the
ones that are doing
it's
this.
their movie. If they say this is the truth and that's the story they want to go with,
to take it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Well,
I don't not support it. I just it's not exactly my kind of movie. These movies aren't like, I wouldn't watch Marriage Story. Not my film.
I wouldn't say I wouldn't support it. I just feel like they're grasping at straws here, and we'll see if it's actually going to be a good film or not.
I mean, I don't know that they need more money. I don't think they're grasping at straws for more money. I don't think that's
they don't need money. Their business is fine. I think it's really more so. So they're capitalizing on a niche group, which let me go ahead and pull up the IMDb for this because it is going to influence kind of what they're trying to do. But they're capitalizing on a niche group, so they understand in the conservative media realm there is a big market for these type of films, and they will do well with that niche group. So, a lot of people aren't going to watch this, but there's going to be a large group that does. So if they have a not outrageous budget and this does well for at least exposure, then they might be onto something. Now, I'm not seeing the budget on IMDb for this.
I'm just
Can't
guessing
imagine it's too
they
terribly
spent
high.
$10 million on this movie.
I would guess. I'm gonna be honest. I would guess closer to 30.
You think?
It's probably between 10 and 30. Now, remember, it doesn't look like there's any major. Doesn't look like there's any major actors in this.
Mm-hmm.
And a
Can you
movie
show us the
like
IMDb?
Nightcrawler with Jake Gyllenhaal was $10 million.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Show
that
us
might be
the-
inflated. Maybe this is more of like a $5 million. Okay.
Can you show us the IMDb and show us some of the actors?
Yes. So we got Aaron Von Adrian.
Mm-hmm.
Oops. We got Amelia Eve, which she's like in her face, it looks very similar to the mom. So features are on point.
Mm-hmm.
Matthew Eric White is young version for Phil.
Mm-hmm.
High school wife or high school K Robertson.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Briella Robillard. And then, this is not a group of well-known actors.
No, not really.
But I mean, what indie movies are,
Freaking okay. What's that? What's the girl who plays the blonde on who could feel the weather in her boobs from Mean Girls?
Don't know.
What was her name? She was just on a she was on an indie film that like had no views on YouTube or website or anything. She acted in an indie film.
But this kind of indie film, this is the sort of thing that as an actor, it could be like your first role.
True.
And I don't think it's a bad movie to be your first role if your acting chops, like for the guy playing Phil, if he's acting the crap out of it, or the lady playing his wife, if they're just acting the crap out of these emotional, powerful performances, that's
get you more work.
Yeah, that'll get you more work. Yeah, a good performance.
Exactly. Look, I don't think this is a wrong move. I think this is going to find the exact audience it needs to, because the people that were fans of Duck Dynasty, the people that have conservative politics, the people that were mad when they tried to cancel Phil Robertson, and then he just found his corner of the market instead of being this across the board interest.
Yeah, global.
That wasn't going to sustain itself anyway. At a certain point, you're going to fall off. So he found it almost solidified his popularity with a certain group of people because he got canceled. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in some ways, this is a good business decision. And I'm sure for him, and I know from their marketing, what they're wanting to do is, because they're presenting, this is a Christian film, this is presenting the gospel, this is presenting a testimonial kind of story. They think this is also going to help evangelize people, right? Or relate to people in a way that can turn them toward God. So that's like a higher calling kind of side of the story, in the way that most Christian films are, right? And as far as Christian films go, this is going to be a standout. There's not a ton of really high quality Christian films.
Yeah, this could potentially be a standout Christian film.
It could be. I mean, it could, blow up to be like, the next Freedom.
Yeah,
it could. Sound of Freedom. Now, speaking of Angel Studios, did you guys see there's a new their next big thing's a documentary called After Death?
I've not seen it.
No, I haven't.
Interesting thing I found out about After Death. I'm not going to name publicly where I work, but where I work is a well-known Christian media company that has for a long time done these mini packages, mini stories, documentary style on people's stories, Christian testimony stories, right? For a long time. In After Death, they're interviewing like a handful of people who have had experiences where they died and they believe they met with Jesus or saw heaven or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's just an interview about that. Almost everybody on that documentary that's coming out, the company I work for did interviews with them 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Like they've been done with that. Now they're reintroducing all these same people in this new high quality Angel Studios documentary.
And they should have
Whatever.
went the
I
other
already know
way.
everyone's story because this documentary is going to be uninteresting to me. I know the ending of every single person's story.
They should have
You know
went
what I
the
mean?
other way and went and
It's all on
started
YouTube.
a kids show, like I said a couple weeks ago, and got Veggie
Yeah, like
Tales, Big
VeggieTales.
Idea,
Yeah,
and went the kid
agreed.
route.
That's true. They should have gone the kid route, but they didn't. Oh,
They will.
What the crap is okay? So let's go to
I
the
just thought it'd
next
be
topic.
funny if I was like, if we ever, if they make a story about, us somehow, who are they gonna?
Who's gonna play us?
Yeah.
Who's gonna play us?
So our doppelgangers.
Okay, so if they were to be like most of the beginning, I guess, what would you say the setup for our long life story, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be a lot of podcasting where we found our that's like the beginning of our story. So it's like we found our groove in the podcast YouTube world, so that these actors who play us are going to have to do a lot of scenes in front of microphones.
Yes.
Studio space.
Oh,
Now,
so
to get to
I
that,
don't know
who's
what's going.
playing us?
I can't help but notice there's no like transition slide, no Wiseworks
isn't.
transition slide here.
We're teeing up ourselves with Duck Dynasty.
Duck Dynasty.
All right, so the first one's me, I think. Let's go ahead and go to it. He's too old.
He's a little old.
He's far too old for me.
But you're
Grandpa Joe and everything.
The guy who plays Ramsey Bolton. I looked up his name a while ago, and I've forgotten.
I think it's like Ian.
I think you're right. Let me just Google it real quick. Who?
But I don't think it would be too difficult to find a good actor to play you.
No.
A lot of the actors that they pick in Hollywood nowadays, especially young ones, have the square jaw and good round head.
Iwan Rion, I think.
Probably Ian.
Iwan. What is that? IWAN.
Ooh, he might be Welsh, so I have no idea how to pronounce that.
Probably Welsh. Let's not even try after I've tried.
Go to Wyatt's slide.
Well, okay, hold on. Before we move, I feel like maybe not so much now, but he is more my age.
Mm-hmm.
He has acted, and we have similar features as Josh Hutcherson. It could work.
Yeah. It could work.
It could.
And he hasn't played in something a whole lot recently, but
yeah.
All right. What? Who is this guy?
He's,
Did you put Wyatt's face in a AI doppelganger?
No,
and this guy.
Honestly, I was like, actors with curly hair, and I was like,
this popped up.
Yeah,
similar skin tone.
I can see it though.
Similar hair, but not the same face.
Yeah, so our face shape is different.
You guys need to figure it out. You both keep talking at the same time. Friggin' take turns.
Yeah, it's not him. He ain't the one. I don't think.
Have you thought of this though, Wyatt? Have you thought of who would be able to play you?
I don't know. Probably Corbin Blue would probably be.
Yeah. He also did what I did, just typing actors with curly hair.
Yeah, no. Like trying to find like young guys, but
he doesn't have to be a guy with curly hair. It could literally be.
He's got darker complexion, but he's like white, and so he looks like you. He fits that,
but he's not white.
No,
and he doesn't have blue eyes either.
Freaking
the blue eyes
big,
give me away.
And the teeth. Wyatt has gappy teeth.
I do have gappy teeth.
Does this guy have a perfect smile? Because it wouldn't cast well.
I don't know. You could cast somebody with like not a perfect smile.
That's what I'm saying. We need a Willem Dafoe type rolling up here.
Yeah, but Willem Dafoe's way too old.
Well, obviously not Willem Dafoe. I'm just saying find someone who hasn't been doing the Invisalign, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Because
I don't know. It's tough to find somebody who looks like me because I'm very unique looking.
Extremely unique. Extremely unique. Now, who is Joshua chosen for himself?
No, I didn't choose this for myself. I got Wyatt to choose this for me. And I didn't tell him why, but I said, who would you say looks more like me? And this was Wyatt.
I'd say
who
the
chose it.
youngest closest was Nick Holt. Old Nicholas Holt. He's got of the younger generation, he's got the thinner face, the nose, the head.
Yeah.
It just I couldn't find anybody else. You know, young Willem Dafoe, yeah, that's Josh.
That's Josh. 100%.
Young Ron Howard, also Josh.
100%.
Yes.
You know, there's a couple of other older actors that when they were young looked a lot like Josh, but of the new generation, not as many. Not as many.
Yeah, as Joshua gets old, if he starts saying things like Spider-Man, he'll
Godspeed, Spider-Man.
Godspeed, Spider-Man.
Out
am I? That kind of thing.
You know how much I sacrificed?
Yeah, I think Joshua would find his rhythm in life, right? If he started saying those kind of things. I mean, you're destined. Now,
well, I do have those weird sayings. I do like. I just come up with random stuff to say, so maybe.
I don't like any of this. Obviously, Ramsey Bolton looks like me, but that's the easiest thing. I mean, who in your guys' world has an actor that a lot of people were exposed to who looks extremely similar and in mannerisms and voice to like me and Ramsey Bolton, me and Iwan, or whatever his name is.
Nobody's told me that I look like any specific actor.
Does anybody in your family have that?
No.
Does any other friend outside of me have that?
I mean, the Willem Dafoe thing was brought up randomly, but
yeah, I would say Josh has a couple that he looks like, which is something. I don't have anybody I look except for, maybe when my hair is shorter and curlier, maybe Nacho Libre, but I don't look like Jack Black.
Not even
either.
The same face.
No,
not at all.
So,
but this is a little too much. This just happened. My nose is a tad bit more buttony and less pointy, but that's about it.
Yeah, but it also, you guys have sort of a similar kind of voice.
Yeah.
And enunciation of things, and
our voice box developed similarly.
Smile. You both kind of have the
no.
You do the.
Now I think other pictures of him, I think with the Ramsey Bolton hair, if I was to just style and cut just like that, it would be very similar. I could get my hair looking very similar to this picture of Ramsey
and
Bolton.
just throw on some furs and some leathers, and dude, you've got it.
I've got it. I could play the prequel to Ramsey's
You should do that for Halloween.
I don't think you could play the prequel. You could play Ramsey Bolton when he was alive, because you're the right age. Now you are the right age now. He's
not when this was airing, though. I was a little younger.
Not when this was airing. Yeah, exactly.
I was like 19, 18, 17 when this was airing.
So if they were to recast him still alive,
me.
There you are.
Here, I had to master my creepy voice with a British accent. That would be difficult.
You should dress up as him for Halloween.
No, it's too much.
Oh, come on. It would be so good.
Cut your hair and everything.
You don't have to cut your hair. Your hair's long enough.
Last year, I was Golden Face from The Office.
You could be Ramsey Bolton. You really could.
Find
a crappy, like, old fur coat from like the Goodwill or something. Turn it into a cape, 2 leather belts, to cross over, and then just some brown shirts and maybe like woolen shirts and stuff like that. Yeah, you could do it.
Does this still look like me?
Look at that facial hair. Yes.
Yeah, his facial hair and yours.
Could I be
could
this sexy?
If you put on the outfit right now with the hair and
That look like me?
the weight, yes. If you put on the outfit right now and people, you were like, guess who I am from Game of Thrones? Nobody would even question. They'd be like, oh, you're Ramsay Bolton.
Could I do this? One of these photo shoots
sure.
with an alcohol shirtless?
But do it with your baby. But behold and Josie.
Freaking that looks a lot like me. That looks too much like me.
Yeah.
Freaking I don't like it.
Oh my gosh. That looks like you as a kid.
Yeah, it does. That looks like me when I was like
Well, we could keep looking at this, but let's finish up this podcast and
would you stop, Joshua?
What?
Freaking Joshua takes control of the mouse sometimes.
No, I
wish I could take control of the mouse.
All right. Whatever.
Touch my computer.
Look, we love you. Recap. Watch Halloween movies. Watch Nightmare Before Christmas. Prepare yourself for the upcoming season. Have a good weekend, and maybe consider watching The Outside on Max. Outsider.
Yes.
If you're into Stephen King stories, because that's a good one, and it's got a good cast, and it's an exciting, interesting, captivating story for thriller mysteries. All right, murder mysteries. That's it. And any final thoughts from you two? Fools?
No,
nothing. I don't look like that guy.
But I'm gonna
Greta Gerwig is fake.
Yeah, that's kind of it. That's all,
Greta Gerwig is riding on the tail of Ryan Gosling. How many women have Ryan Gosling given careers to? Definitely that girl from The Notebook.
No, Rachel McAdams was Mean Girls, dude.
Before The Notebook?
Yeah, Rachel McAdams made her own fame. Don't you disrespect Rachel McAdams.
Have you guys seen the new Dave?
No.
I wish I could play that Rachel McAdams song from Dave right now.
Freaking McAdams.
Yeah, I want to be your Mr. McAdams. Now, freaking, and watch the Dave music video for McAdams. That's a good recommendation. Has Brad Pitt in it, I think.
Yeah.
We love you. We'll see you next time, I guess.